Adger, come off it. You're almost saying we have two good coaches here. Friend and Lancaster, steal one. That'll fix Munster. Munster had Felix Jones and Jerry Flannery in house. They both wanted more input, says O'Toole on our YouTube comments. Pat Lam or Andy Friend type for Munster, says G10. No chance of getting Pat Lam back now because he's got one of the best jobs in rugby with the billionaire owner who's investing in the team. Look, I don't think it'd be terrible for Leinster if they were to lose Lancaster, but maybe the best thing is to keep him in the Irish system. There's an opportunity here for him to be a head coach, and then all of a sudden you've got succession plans and depth when it comes to the Ireland job if England decides that they want our coach.
What about, but you were pretty big on the whole Joey Carberry going to Munster ruins the whole Munster-Leinster rivalry thing. Would that not dilute the rivalry even further? A coach going from one province to the other?
I think a coach and a player are totally different, right?
He knows the inside secrets of Leinster. He's made them, been a huge part of making them what they were over the last couple of years. Yeah. Taking that and just copying and pasting it to a rival, like Pep going to Liverpool.
Well, this is the type of thing that would happen in football all the time, where you would take a managerial rival and or somebody in a coaching ticket, like Arsenal taking Arteta.
This is different though, isn't it? I think it feels like Lancaster has a far bigger role at Leinster than Arteta had at. Is this actually a promotion? Like you say, it's his head coach role, but like is Lancaster's current role exactly what he wants to be doing?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Like I would suspect that at some point he wants to be the main person in charge again, and like would easily put together a coaching ticket of very qualified coaches from all around the world who would want to work with him on the basis of the quality of work that he's done over his time at Leinster. Like, what would you think if that happened as a Munster fan?
Oh, from Munster's perspective, it would be great. So I think, as Keith said earlier, it would leave a serious stink in Leinster, and they would not be happy with it.
And there'd be a massive rivalry again.
There would, but also
everybody showing up. But the Aviva is full, Thomond is full.
That was my point about Carberry. Initially, it was like this actually stokes the rivalry that Leinster weren't happy about this guy leaving. That was the whole thing about the player moving. What I think would be interesting is if this happened, Leinster wouldn't be happy with the IRFU for greasing the wheels on this move because they are the kingmakers in all this, and it would be interesting to see what knock-on impact that would have if that, not that the relationship would sour or anything like that, but that they've been their chances of dominating Europe have been lessened as a result of a unilateral decision.
Yeah, but I mean, Leinster's ability to generate new players is endless, as we have seen, and it turns out money and investment in coaching really pays off in the long run. Who knew that was going to work out the way it did? So, why not do this? You're saying Leinster are the only reason to stop doing it.
Well, why not do this is this realistic? Is
it unrealistic?
I think so.
Why?
Why?
So why is it such a radical idea to take somebody who is not in charge and put them in charge in a different situation? Why is that radical?
Well, I'm not saying
that's the problem with Irish rugby. It's one of these conservative, like,
radical,
you can't do that.
I'm not saying it's not, like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong being radical. I'm saying that it's just, I would be very, 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 very surprised if that actually happened. Very surprised.
So?
Like, it's definitely radical, I'll give you that, but
it's not even that radical. Yeah. It isn't. Somebody within the system, a new job comes up, you can go for that job.
Yeah, like I'd say, I think that it's interesting what that texture to say about Felix Jones and Jerry Flannery. We kind of feels like we still don't know the full story there as to what actually happened, what exactly.
Well, look, I think Flannery is very, very impressive, and Felix Jones is putting together an unbelievable body of work.
And Erasmus talks about him in glowing terms. And Erasmus picked him on the basis of what he'd seen at Munster.
The fact that they're not part of the solution at Munster is an indictment of the situation at Munster. Like, Munster has lost its way. Munster has lost its way. The leadership at Munster is not good enough when you compare it with the other aspects of Irish rugby, and they need to look at themselves and examine themselves and go, what did we get wrong? How do we lose our best young coaches? Why are they all working for other teams all around the world and doing really well?
Especially someone like Flannery, who is of the
just won a championship. Yeah. Like, went in and won a championship really quickly. Got promoted like about 15 times. Goes and wins a World Cup, Felix. There's like one of the most creative backs coaches is at Racing. All of them Munster men. We could a coach at La Rochelle. The Irish coaching ticket has a great Irish Munsterman there.
Well, I guess this circles back nicely to Lancaster. I guess the overarching feeling I would have is that Lancaster going to Munster would feel like a step down for Stuart Lancaster. Whereas, and I think that kind of taps into a lot of what you're saying there as well. Like, it feels like certainly a higher element of risk when you're coming from some of those other teams that
Sorry, from Stuart Lancaster's perspective, it would be a bit of a risk, but he would be going in and everybody would have to do what he says because he knows what he's talking about. He would be the one who's like telling everybody this is how it's going to be. And that's exactly what they need. They need somebody who knows what things look like when they're going well, what things look like when they're not going well, and what the difference is and how to fix it. Like,
I just get the feeling though it's kind of like saying, you know, Manchester United could use Jurgen Klopp. I know it's not because he's in the system. I know it's different, but it just kind of feels that there's a gap between these two teams. Lancaster is as important as Leo Cullen to the whole setup.
The fundamental misunderstanding there is actually it's like somebody going from Red Bull Leipzig to one of the other Red Bulls because it's all owned by the same people.
I get that.
That's the fundamental difference here. Like, or it's the City Group. Like, Patrick Vieira could easily come back from Palace to Manchester City because, you know, he's gone and he's in the system and he's one of ours. And it, like, ostensibly it is, and so therefore you would assume that the IRFU could make it so that it is a more senior role.
Like a lot of those City Group teams and Red Bull teams don't necessarily play against each other, and there is like there isn't.
Okay, it's not as straightforward. But it's still, I mean, they do play against each other in the Champions League.
But it's just a constant conflict between two teams that should be in constant rivalry and two teams that are actually being funded from the exact same place.
Yeah.
So it's like warring brothers or something like that. It's hard to know what exactly the relationship between them should be when it comes to these playing resources and coaching resources.
Sibling rivalry is one of the great inspirations in the world.
Yeah, yeah, it really is.
So, I don't know. Munster fans, give us your thoughts. Hashtag OTB AM. You can leave a comment in the YouTube stream. Leinster fans, give us your thoughts. I'll shut up now because I don't really want this to happen.